When Ferrari launched the F430 in 2005, they weren't just replacing the beautiful 360 Modena. They were shifting gears entirely. Where the 360 relied on smooth organic curves, the F430 brought more sharp race-derived aerodynamics straight into its road car design language. It bridged the gap between pure Italian elegance and functional downforce-driven engineering. Welcome to Form and Function, a new series where we break down automotive design to understand how visual lines and engineering requirements shape the cars we love. The goal? To train our eyes to sketch better, or also to build period-correct realistic cars in games like Automation. My name is Bayer, and I want to make a quick disclaimer before we jump in. I'm an engineer by trade, not a professional car designer. This series is my personal deep dive into where those two worlds collide, and I'm learning the lines and curves right alongside you guys. In this first 3-part mini-series, we are focusing on mid-engine sports cars from the golden era around the year 2005. Over the next 3 episodes, we'll be breaking down 3 iconic approaches to this layout: the Ferrari F430, the Audi R8, and the Lamborghini Gallardo. To visualize my thoughts and to annotate the designs, I'm using a Wacom 1M digital drawing pad. If you want to check it out, I've put an Amazon affiliate link in the description. Using this link supports the channel directly, no matter what you end up buying on Amazon within the next 24 hours. So thanks in advance. Now let's get into it. So here we are. First of all, I want to take a look at the quarter view from the front and the back to see how the car in general feels, and then we take a look at the side profile, the proportions of that, the front and the rear, and then all of the smaller little details that we still can find. But yeah, already here what we can see is that we have, of course, a very low slung car, very organic lines, something that Ferrari was known for in that era. And one very distinctive feature of the F430 Scuderia that we have here are these sharknose intakes here in the front, which are basically derived from the F156, the Formula 1 car from the early 60s, I believe, or late 50s could also be. Here also we have this middle section that imitates a Formula 1 car. Also the Ferrari Enzo had it to bring, it's used to get from this high pressure area the air into the channels under the car to provide more downforce. The side vents obviously are used for radiators, which are mounted in the front car, and to drive the air out of the wheel arches. The thing that's unique here to the Scuderia are these air outlets here in the front, and what's also very pronounced to the F430 is this line that basically goes all the way around the car and really gives the light a good edge to make the upper car bright, the side a little bit more dark. We find some other lines as well, for example this one, which directly goes into the line here at this vent. So these lines help to make the car more cohesive. Maybe you all already heard about line flow. These pieces connect the front to the back and make the car look like a cohesive piece of art. Of course, you also have to pay attention to the smaller details and similar shapes everywhere, so that it really looks like one piece and not a collection of random pieces just thrown to the car, like many cars in Automation look like. But let's leave it at that here for this front quarter view and jump right here into the side profile. So again here we see this line as it goes all the way from the front to the back of the car. Still practicing my lines here. And we have this very nice natural shapes here for the front and also over the rear wheel, and together with the nicely curved, very natural greenhouse. This is just, there's no straight line basically on this car except for the one that connects the front to the back. So the upper part is very smooth, very ergonomic, and the lower half is a bit more edgy, a bit more straight. And we see how well this line here connects to this one. And also then it continues here at this element here in the rear. Proportions wise, let's take a look at the A-pillar. If you take a look at this one and make it a little longer, then we end up, if my line is right, somewhere in front of the front wheels. In other cars, sometimes they meet this center of the front wheel, but for mid-engine cars, the cabin is mostly a little bit more forward leaning. I think with the Gallardo we will see something a little bit more extreme even. By bringing this further to the front, the car is more like a wild cat, just waiting to attack their prey. Other than that, we have similar shapes here for the vents. So we have this arch here, which is mirrored. It basically looks like this one here. This one also is there to bring air into the rear wheel arches to cool the brakes. I'm not sure if there's radiators behind there as well, but if we get to the rear, there's so much venting going on that I believe this also goes straight through the rear. And here on the top we have the engine air intake. So again, very a functional piece that needed to go there. What's also quite interesting is that we have a molding part here, creating another ridge there for the light and shadows to play. And I also often take a look at the seams, and here we see that the door nicely follows the A pillar first, then with a nice sweep goes to the bottom. For the B pillar there's a small kink here, and then also a nice sweep to go to the bottom. The sills, again with a nice ridge here for the light. Just some contours, you find the same here in the front, but not in the rear. Alright, completely messed this image up. On to the next one. Let's go to the front again. And here I want to point out a few minor things. So first of all, headlights also very non-geometric shape, following the lines of the body. So we have here this seam going around, and basically the headlight follows the same curve. And the other edge here is almost parallel to the front hood. Similar distances here and here. And again for the front vents, so the F430, the original one, had more like ovals like this, and this Enzo inspired front basically gives another focus point in my point of view. So we have this very wide look with the headlights very much at the edge of the car, and the big two vents basically draw the visual weight outwards. So your eyes first take a look here and then maybe on the other side, but you need something that makes your eyes wander from one side to the other. And of course one thing is this seam here and the line below, but what they also achieve is with this line and this line meeting here, so we get additional focus points where the eyes are naturally drawn towards too. And this lower air intake just emphasizes it and puts the focus towards the center of the car. Here, by the way, we have the place for the number plate, also something that you always need. Yeah, but other than that, not much else to see here. Very nice pronounced lower lip, and this lip here is in black, so there is car here, but it's in black so that it basically disappears. And then the part where the design falls a little bit apart from my point of view. It's still a beautiful car, but I like the normal F430 better than this one. So basically what we have here, and we will take a look straight on from the rear, is just a clash of a few lines, like those horizontal ones, a few vertical ones. You have these round lights here, you have diagonal lines, and then even more askew lines, and then this part here. So, and then we have the exhaust here. It's, from my point of view, a little bit of a mess. And then we have the very geometric sausage reflector here. Yeah, it's a little bit too much from my point of view, but yeah, it's a racy car, form follows function, I understand that. So let's take a closer look now from the rear. You can see a few things about the composition at least. So here we have this seam which goes into this additional vent that the 430 Scuderia has. Then it has this very rectangular thingy here, sausage shaped brake light, sausage shaped reflector. Always take a look at that. The exhausts were on the original 430, they were down here, and for a bigger diffuser they put them upwards. Yeah, they probably needed the space, but they are sitting really high up. I think it would look, visually it would look better if they were centered here. And yeah, the diffuser is just, as I said before, it's a big mess. But here is a vent, there is a big vent, there is a vent. They just needed to get the air out there. At least what we can see is that this line roughly matches with this one roughly matches with the outer edge also of the exhaust. But yeah, this line does not meet any line. What is there, what you can see is, if you take a look at this black part, which also just adds noise from my point of view, excuse my lines, is if you draw it correctly, then these round lights are directly put on the seam basically. So there's some composition there, they tried to center those on the seam. Yeah, then it's less of a mess than otherwise. So the original 430 was a lot more clean, had basically just a small vent up here, a lot more body here with small vents basically around the exhaust, small diffuser, a lot nicer from my point of view. But anyway, I hope you see how you can still find a few lines, and this is exactly what you should aim for in your own designs to make it look coherent. One last thing, in the back you have seen these very round elements. In the front you had this very organic looking front light. So yeah, it's a bit not coherent, but we will at least we find a few more circles on the car. And now for some details. Yeah, I've talked about the headlights already. So here we have just two circular elements. Notice the orange still on the indicator, still in the mid-2000s, and it's overlapping here with the housing of the main headlight. So this is something that I normally try to avoid in automation. Here we can definitely see it also done in reality. Nice to know. Here we have a small patch for the headlight washers. And while we are at the indicators, before I miss it, here we have also an orange round side indicator. So the round elements at least can be found here in these places as well. And then here on the side, again, indicator, the badge obviously here in the extension of the A-pillar, and this very nice molding part, which I absolutely love. Brief word to the rims, nice alloys with a bright paint. For high-end cars, always put the badge on there if there's some way that you can achieve that, and very, very slim, very fragile looking twin 5-spoke wheels with 5 screws. Then to the side, just a few minor details. We have here the design studio on there. We have a very minimalistic door handle with just a very basic lock. And also what I liked very much about this car is the tank lid with this very nice indentation there. Something, yeah, just to give it a little bit more detail. Some details in the rear. The Ferrari name here. The very traditional badge. We have the 430 Scuderia badge here. We have the simple horse here on this vertical beam. A few small vents and carbon fiber here on the rear cover. Actually some small holes for screws to hold the rear window in place. And very important for this age always is a transparent window where you can actually see the engine. And here we also have a beam between the two suspensions to strengthen the torsional stiffness of the chassis. And then the very last thing, the interior. Yeah, very minimalistic, very basic. We have a car that only has pedal shifter, so there's not much going on here in the center console. We have 3 air vents and yeah, the heater control, and that's it. The door cards are basically carbon fiber. And we have here not even a glove box, just something for a bit of paper, not even a handle to hold on to. So very racy, also with the starter button on the steering wheel and some drive modes to select here. A yellow RPM meter is also something to note here. And that wraps up our design breakdown of the 430 Scuderia. We analyzed how Ferrari balanced the cooling requirements with the ability to still please the eye, even though at the rear they had to make a few compromises to make the cooling work also during heavy track use, I believe. I think with this we have a solid foundation for designing our own Italian-inspired mid-2000s mid-engine sports cars in automation or on paper. Next time we're shifting our focus to a completely different philosophy from the same era, the iconic Audi R8. Let's see how the Germans do it and how the infamous side blades and the modern proportions influenced mid-engine car design. Since this was the very first episode of Form and Function, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you like this new format? Did I miss any major design element? And drop a comment down below and let me know which era or theme should we tackle after this mini-series. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to not miss the next one, and I'll see you in part 2. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.